Joel Embiid just became the Kevin Durant of international basketball. He betrayed an entire country, snaked the president of France, turned his back on his own country too, just so he could team up with all the superstars and win an easy gold medal with Team USA. The 2024 Olympics just changed, and Embiid has no idea that he's just started the biggest rivalry in international basketball. And when he arrives in Paris, he will soon realize he's the most hated man in the country. Joel Embiid is MVP of the NBA. He's universally recognized as a top 3 player in the world. He's so good, you could make an argument that over the last 3 years, he's been the best player in basketball, at least in the regular season. But despite his dominance in the NBA, at 30 years old, Joel Embiid has never played basketball internationally, and that uniquely made him the biggest free agent in FIBA history, because Joel Embiid is eligible to represent 3 different countries. He could play for Cameroon, the country he was born. He could play for France, his native country, and he could play for USA, the country he has lived in for half his life. If Joel Embiid had just picked any one of these countries, nobody would have had a problem. But that's not what he did, was it? He sold dreams, he made promises to 2 different nations, and with all this new leaked information that's coming out, a lot of the outrage seems completely justified. The whole reason Joel Embiid has never played international basketball is because of health. He's been an injury-prone player throughout his career, so playing 82 games plus playoffs and then playing international ball over the summer is something the Philadelphia 76ers, who are paying him hundreds of millions of dollars, have never wanted to risk. For years, everybody thought he would play for Cameroon. Embiid has always been very patriotic. He was born there, lived there until he was 16, and he'd already represented the national team at junior level and always said they would be his first choice to play for. So when he decided to play for Team USA instead, his home country turned on him. Understandably so, because historically speaking across all sports, African athletes rarely represent their country of origin. The sport of basketball specifically has been historically dominated by African American players. Yet you rarely see the continent of Africa represented in major international tournaments like the Olympics or World Cup, which is why it was so important for Embiid to play for Cameroon. As a country, they have never qualified for the Olympics or the World Cup. For the first time in their nation's history, their country could be competitive on the world stage. They could have the MVP. Instead, they have to watch the best player in the history of their country rep another flag and fight for their colours. If Joel Embiid and NBA All-Star Pascal Siakam chose to play for Cameroon, on paper they'd be better than a lot of countries at the Olympics. Neither of them have ever played for their national team. Now in the case of African American players, a lot of them don't actually know their ancestry and country of origin, but even players that do from European countries still rarely play for African teams. Victor Wembanyama is Congolese, Giannis Antetokounmpo is Nigerian, yet they represent their countries of birth instead. This doesn't just happen in basketball. In 2018, France won the FIFA World Cup, and 15 of their 23 players were of African descent. History will remember France as world champions, and there will never be any mention of Africa. Because of this, there has been a huge push in recent years for African players to represent African countries. From the athlete's perspective, they are competitors and want to win, and if they have the opportunity to play for a better team and increase their chances of winning, some of them will choose to do that. But now think of it from the perspective of Cameroon. What chance do you ever have to be good or get better if the best Cameroon players are playing for other countries? What's interesting is Luka Doncic is Slovenian, but because he joined Real Madrid at such a young age, he would have been eligible to play for Spain. And in terms of creating a legacy, playing for Spain would have given Luka a much better chance at winning gold medals. But Luka chose patriotic pride over best positioning himself to win. Think about how many people now know of Slovenia because of Luka Doncic. How many people now know of Serbia because of Nikola Jokic. From a certain point of view, some would argue putting on for your country is more important than winning a gold medal. I guess if you're as good as Luka Doncic, you can do both. Playing for Slovenia didn't stop him from winning a gold medal, and he beat Spain on his way to do it. But as disappointing as it is for Cameroon not to have the MVP of the NBA on their team, it's France that are most outraged by Joel Embiid's decision. Let me blow your mind and tell you why. The French national team have never won gold, not at the Olympics or the World Cup, but the 2024 Olympics is in Paris, and France consider themselves the clear favourites. A gold medal is not an obsession, it is not a dream, it's an expectation. They are not scared of Team USA. Why should they be? At the 2019 FIBA World Cup, France sent USA home in the quarter-finals. At the 2021 Olympics, the two nations met again, twice. USA were star-studded. They had KD, Tatum, Dame, Booker, Bam. France beat them again in the early rounds, ending their 25-game win streak and beating them for a second time in a row. They met again in the championship game, and when it mattered, thanks to a heroic performance from KD, USA won 87-82. In 2022, there was more heartbreak for the French national team at Eurobasket. After defeating Giannis and Luka Doncic to get to the final, they lost to Spain and had to settle for silver again. If you didn't think FIBA was weird already, in a tournament that included 3 of the best basketball players in the world, it was the Hernan Gomez brothers that won tournament and finals MVPs. But all of that failure for France was before Victor Wembanyama. The French now believe the NBA's Rookie of the Year will celebrate his homecoming with an Olympic gold medal. But the main reason France were the favourites to win Olympic gold was because they were getting the MVP of the NBA. For years, Embiid has shown his love for France. In 2021, when France beat USA, Embiid publicly tweeted "Allez les Bleus," which translates "Let's go France." Considering the fact that both countries were recruiting Embiid at this time, this tweet was very revealing. And this isn't a one-time thing. Joel Embiid has been supporting France for over a decade. It's all documented on his Twitter. NBA champion Boris Diaw also said publicly that Joel Embiid had told him personally that he wanted to play for France and he wanted to win with France. Back then we had to take him for his word, but we now know for sure that's the case, as the French Basketball Association has released a personal letter written by Joel Embiid himself to Emmanuel Macron, the President of France, asking to be accepted as a French citizen so he can represent the country. I am quoting the letter. "Dear Mr. President, I am writing to tell you about France. Also, after discussions with the French Basketball Federation, my choice has now been made. I would like to take the steps to obtain French naturalization and thus be eligible for selection with the Blues. I therefore do not wish to play for any other national team. I have sent a file to this effect to the Ministry of Interior and Foreign Affairs. I have never worn the colours of any national team. It would be an immense honour for me to join this French team to participate in the next major international competition. First and foremost, the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Thank you for your attention to my request and asking you to believe, Mr. President, in the expression of my deepest consideration. From Joel Embiid." This is crazy. He's basically asked the president of the country to put in a good word for him, help him get citizenship so he can not only play for France but live in the country too. And President Macron delivered. In May 2023, Joel Embiid was granted French citizenship, and this was as good as official confirmation that Joel Embiid would represent France. Now, from a basketball perspective, with FIBA rules, France were looking unstoppable on paper. They have the 2 Defensive Player of the Years, 7-2 and 7-5. Remember, no 3-second violation, no goaltending. And then offensively, one of your 7-footers has guard skills and can play on the perimeter, and you've got another 7-footer who's MVP of the NBA and 2-time leading scorer. Bear in mind, the team that poses the biggest threat to France is Team USA. They got exposed at the 2023 FIBA World Cup. Why? Because they had no big men. Team USA lost 3 games in that tournament. They lost to Lithuania without Sabonis because Jonas Valanciunas looked like prime Shaq. they lost to Germany because they couldn't handle the Wagner brothers. They even lost to Canada with Zach Edey getting playing time. I haven't even mentioned that France will have 7'2" Alex Sarr as well. They have so much size. And for all the talent USA have, there aren't many great American-born centres right now. And after what happened at the World Cup, France's frontcourt of Joel Embiid, Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama scared the life out of Team USA, who we all know are under real pressure to make a statement at the 2024 Olympics and remind the rest of the world that they are still the best basketball nation. So what did Team USA do? They went behind the scenes, extensively recruited Joel Embiid and somehow, someway stole him from the French. Not too long after he gained French citizenship, Joel Embiid became a US citizen, which made him eligible to play for Team USA as well, and he is now committed to play for USA at the 2024 Olympics. The roster has been officially announced, he's on it, he's received his jersey and will wear number 11. He's also public enemy number 1 in France. This decision has completely changed everything. As star-studded as this Team USA roster is, the new players they've brought in are old and past their prime. LeBron will be close to 40 when the tournament starts. Curry and Durant are 36. Kawhi and AD are early 30s and are two of the most injury-prone stars we've ever seen. If you take Joel Embiid away from that roster, they'd have the exact same problem they had at the World Cup. Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis are 6'9 and 6'10. France would have had a clear height advantage, but with Joel Embiid, USA now have a dominant inside force. In the same way Kevin Durant did with the Warriors, it almost makes them unbeatable. USA had one weakness. The same way Golden State didn't have a scoring wing, USA didn't have a dominant 7-footer who can score inside. And now Team USA didn't just get anybody, they got the most dominant inside scorer, MVP of the NBA. And more importantly than that, like Golden State did with OKC, they took away the best player from the team that posed the biggest threat to them. Team USA might be unbeatable with Joel Embiid. Wemby's probably the best defender in the world. He couldn't stop Embiid from scoring 70 plus points. As you can imagine, the French are not happy. The president of the French Basketball Association is very angry about Embiid's decision. He basically said USA are unbeatable now, and Embiid took the easy way out for an easy ride to an Olympic gold medal. Who remembers Franz Weiss? He was a silver medalist with the French national team, but he's probably more famous for getting dunked on by Vince Carter. Weiss has not only called for Embiid's French citizenship to be revoked because he's a dirty guy, but he also thinks Joel should be banned from entering the country and arrested upon arrival so he can't play in the Olympics. And you can see, Joel Embiid himself is already feeling the pressure, and is refusing to answer questions from French reporters.
I'm not talking in French.
You can understand why the French feel betrayed. Imagine somebody came to America, wrote a letter to Donald Trump asking to be a US citizen, talked about how representing the country would be the biggest honour of all, and at the last minute chooses to play for a different country instead. I'd imagine a lot of America would be disrespected and outraged. But there's a big difference between American sports fans and European sports fans. And if you think Joel Embiid is gonna come to Paris and hear a few boos like KD did when he returned to OKC, then you don't know about Paris sports fans, or even the French in general. Let me tell you a bit about them. Here's a video of Paris fans who came to Neymar's house in numbers looking for him, chanting that he's a son of a bitch. How about his own fans bringing a banner to a game that says, "Neymar, go sell your son in a prostitution village"? The crazy part is, that's just insults. What about thousands of fans storming the field, attacking players, trashing the stadium, and aiming petrol bombs and flares at players trying to leave? All because they lost a game. These are regular occurrences. Crowd control is out of control in France. Malice at the Palace-like scenes are just a regular occurrence. And I know what you're thinking, DKM, that's football. That's not gonna happen in basketball. But never before have French hoops fans had a reason to behave like this. Well, Joel Embiid just gave them one. He made a mockery of their president and their country. And if you've ever seen hashtag France has fallen trending on Twitter, you know riots are a regular occurrence. And these guys do it different. Burning buildings, attacking police. How about going to the zoo and freeing all the animals? This Team USA team has some of the most experienced basketball players in the world. Yet none of them have experienced anything like what they're about to in Paris. Fireworks will be set off outside their hotel at 3 AM the night before games. The team bus will be attacked upon arrival. The police will be outnumbered. There is nothing they'll be able to do. If they try to intervene, they'll get terrorized as well. It won't matter if they're playing France or not. Fans will buy tickets to USA games against other countries and attempt to create the most hostile atmosphere imaginable. All because of Joel Embiid. And I'll have you know that anything goes in European basketball arenas. Just ask Kevin Durant, he went to one EuroLeague game and all of this happened. And in the event that France play Team USA at the Olympics, I can't imagine what those scenes may look like. If it's the final and Team USA win, I don't know if they'd be able to celebrate on the court. Joel Embiid receiving a gold medal and having a whole ceremony after beating them in their house when he was supposed to play for them? That ain't happening. All I can say is the 2024 Olympics in Paris are going to be historic. Joel Embiid just ignited a fire and I don't know who can put it out. Let me tell you this, whatever love he has for France and hopes of one day living here, that might change and not be possible after these Olympic Games. Because they don't love him, they hate him. If you've made it up to this part of the video and enjoyed, share your thoughts and feedback down below in the comments. Is Joel Embiid the biggest traitor in basketball? Which country should he have represented internationally? Let me know down below in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed, and on that note, it's DKM signing out until next time, and peace.